Okay, yeah, so I know it's been a while since I posted, and I can give you all the excuses. They're real. Like, I've been doing a lot, I've been traveling, and I've been trying to lift up other voices, and I think that's important. And I need feedback from y'all. So if you see this and you want to encourage me, please post in the chat because I'm a black preacher, and I um, feel encouraged when my folk speak back to me. So, okay. But all of those things aside, no more excuses. I'm just gonna post today, and it's not gonna be perfect. But this morning, I got the opportunity to gather with some of my colleagues in an action called Canopies of Compassion, and it draws from the Jewish tradition, which also at times has been a Christian tradition, from the story of Abraham, and it says that Abraham and Sarah, as they united together, they had these canopies, these beautiful like tents that protected people from the sun and the rain, but they were open. They were tents of protection that covered everyone, but not walls that isolated them. And we're in a season here in Massachusetts, as in around the country, where our immigrant siblings are being picked up by ICE. People are being disappeared on the streets. It is really happening. I was in Canada and somebody said, I see this stuff on the news. Is it really happening? I said, yes, it is really happening. People who have been here for years are being picked up on their work sites, on their way to work. Families are living in fear. Children are afraid to go to school, to leave the house. It is real. It is happening. And it is happening in our country that was established so that we wouldn't be like that. We were established by people fleeing persecution. And I want to be honest. They were fleeing persecution. They were leaning into their highest ideals. And there were also people here trying to just make a buck. Let's be real. And there were also times in which they felt like their protection and their security meant that it was okay to commit genocide and war against people who are already here. So let's now be, I have no problem being honest about the fact that we have a checkered past. It's real. It's real. We have been a place that has one of the biggest centers of slavery in the world, and one of the places that promoted abolition in beautiful, powerful ways that went also around the world. We are a country of both. And I want to come back to this notion of we. Because at the end of the rally, I gave a speech. I talked about what it meant for me as a descendant of African American enslaved people who were brought to this country forcibly. My people did not choose to come here. We did not choose to immigrate here. And yet we have this deep history of believing in the promise of America. We were at the State House right across the street from the monument to the 54th Regiment, full of formerly enslaved people who fought in the Civil War on behalf of the highest ideals of this country, even though they had experienced some of the worst of what this country has done. My people have always lived in the tension between what America is and what America could be. And we are in a moment right now that is the tension between what America is and what America could be. And many are challenging us to go back to an America that's not the best of who we could be, but in many ways the worst of who we have been. And at the heart of that is this question of who is we the people? Who's included in the we? And I want to be really honest, like all of us are like, oh my gosh, what's happening? The truth is that this has been a conversation we have been having since the beginning of this country. From the very beginning, my people were not included in the we. We were written in as 3/5 of a person. The people who were originally in this land were not included as a we. They were considered expendable. They were forced to move from the lands that they had lived in for thousands of years to other places. So let's not pretend like this conversation about who the we is new. And for my generation, for this time, for this moment, this conversation of who the we is happening right now. And those of us who believe that the we can and should be big need to stand up. Particularly those of us who call ourselves people of faith. Those of us who, whatever tradition we come from, have some version of the golden rule, which in my tradition starts first in the Hebrew scriptures and is carried through to Jesus. This notion that the central thing, that all of what we're doing and all of what we're called to can be boiled down into love your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. That it all boils down to that. And the truth is, there's three assumptions in that. First, that we acknowledge our creator. And to be honest with you, I'm not as pressed about what you call our creator. But this notion that there is a force that is bigger than us, that sets the world in motion, that calls us to be our best selves, that has gifted us this time, this place on this planet with all the other species with whom we share this world. Whatever you call that. For me, it is God. For me, it is Jesus. But the reality is, at the foundation, the idea is that you have to be in right relationship. There's a humility, a openness to the big picture that comes when you choose to be in relationship with the Creator. And that out of that big picture humility, you also see yourself within that you have a responsibility not to just do you and make money and do whatever it is that you think you're doing, but you have a responsibility to this bigger human project, planetary existence. And that at the heart of that, the heart of the humility that you find from that is a necessity to be in loving, deep, right relationship with your neighbor, one that is as powerful and profound as the one you have for yourself. Now, I want to be honest that some of us don't love ourselves, so we can't love our neighbor as we love ourselves in a good way if we don't love ourselves. So that's real. But we are in a moment right now where we're deciding whether this commandment, this way of being, this call is real. If it's real in this country, whether it's real and if it's real in the world. And so I'm really thankful that I gathered today with my colleagues, other clergy from other traditions, Christian, Jewish, Unitarian, Buddhist, other traditions, calling for this. I am glad that we stood up specifically on behalf of our immigrant neighbors. Last week, I was with a crew of us standing up on behalf of our LGBTQIA neighbors, because I feel like these are the two groups most deeply being attacked right now, most nakedly and brazenly being attacked right now. But that's what's at the heart of it, y'all. We are called to the most expansive version of the we, the people. That's what we're called to. And this is a moment in which we are deciding. So I'm about to get off. I said what I had to say. So much more to be said. But I hope you'll think about it. And tomorrow I'm gonna go knock on my neighbor's door because I told you to do it, and I haven't really been doing it. And I want to remind you that if we can't even know the neighbor who literally lives next door to us, how do we stand with the neighbor we don't see? But that's what's at stake. And I'm just called to remind you what we are called to do in this moment. So signing off. This is me, part of the we, as we build together. As together we answer that the we is all of us. All of us.